A Bird Came Down the Walk by Emily Dickinson. This is the last poem in your syllabus under the theme of nature. Under the theme of nature. Now, in this poem, Emily Dickinson monitors, keeps looking at a bird, keeps looking at a bird that enters her garden, and walks along the path towards her home. It's a simple description of bird's action, but when we analyze the poem deep, we can see this bird's action depicts some important aspect of nature. When we closely analyze the poem, when we analyze the bird's action, we can see it's not only about the bird's action, but also about the poet's understanding about some hidden truths, some hidden realities of nature. Hidden realities of nature. Emily Dickinson is a woman poet, American woman poet. She was regarded as a silent poet. Silent. Not very outstanding, but later she became known in American literature. She wrote many simple poems like this, but still they have some depth. A bird came down the walk. Let's first read it. A bird came down the walk. He did not know I saw. He bit an angleworm in house and ate the fellow raw. And then he drank a dew from a convenient grass, and then hopped sidewise to the wall to let a beetle pass. He glanced with rapid eyes that hurried all abroad. They looked like frightened beads, I thought. He stirred his velvet head. Like one in danger. He stirred his velvet head like one in danger. Cautious, I offered him a crumb. And he unrolled his feathers and rowed him softer home than oars divide the ocean. 2 silver for a seam for butterflies, off banks of noon, leap flashless as they swim. Oh, butterflies, leap flashless as they swim. Now you can see there are many images taken from nature, from the poet's environment, surroundings. Now, let's read and understand the poem by reading it line by line. A bird came down the walk. Now, poet refers to a bird. This bird has no name. Why? Because this bird represents all birds found in nature. All birds found in nature. Now the specific bird, nameless bird, came down the walk. The walk means the road or path to the poet's house, from the gate to the house. Now, in this title, the poet introduces this bird as a person walking, that walk. Therefore, the bird is humanized or personified as a stranger, as a strange man that enters the poet's garden without any permission. Without any permission. Right? Without any permission. In the animal's world, human laws do not exist. Human laws. Now, poet expects that everyone must take permissions to enter her garden, but animals, they are free to go anywhere. They do not need visas, tickets, permission, passports, license, or anything. Because nature is free, all animals are free, but we humans are not free. We are not free. We need license to go on the road. We need permissions to enter a place. We need a ticket to travel by bus. We are not free people. That idea is given here. Nature's freedom, lack of laws. You understand? Nature is a free world. Nature does not demand money from you. But nature has its own laws. We are discussing those laws in this poem. Nature's laws. We call them nature's laws. Swabhadhame Niti. We have to agree with them. They are not harmful to us. Those laws are for the nature's benefit. Nature is protected by those laws. Okay. Now, first stanza. A bird came down the walk. That is the title of the poem. He did not know I saw. Now we know this bird is personified as a person. He did not know I saw. Now, the poet is secretly monitoring, looking at this intruder, stranger. A stranger comes into her garden without her permission. Without her permission. We people are very proud because we think we are very powerful characters. But for animals, we are powerless because they do not care us. They do not care our laws. Now, the poet is somewhat little bit touched or angry, but she monitors bird's actions. What does he next do? After entering the garden, he bit an angleworm. Angleworm is a large worm that is bird's food. Natural food, nature's food. He bit an angleworm. He broke the angleworm into halves, 2 pieces. Into halves means 2 pieces. And ate the fellow raw. Now, poet notices, after breaking the angleworm into 2, the bird eats that angleworm raw. Raw means without cooking. Now this action of the bird is very simple. This is how birds take food. They eat worms, beetles, and other insects. Because some birds are carnivorous. Carnivorous. They eat lot of meat. Think of the eagle, the first poem. Now here, what is the idea or hidden meaning of this line? Now, birds are normally regarded as very innocent creatures. Innocent creatures. But here, we do not see any innocence, any mercy, any sympathy. He eats his fellow friend as food. What is this? This is one of nature's law. What is this law? Law of survival. Law of survival. Survival means life, living. Law of survival. All animals of nature depends on each other for survival, for life. You know food chain? Aharadami, remember. Food chain. That is the same law applied here. The bird eats a creature below it as food. In this law of survival, dependence, there is no mercy, there is no sympathy, there is no friendship. It's very rigid law, tough law than human laws. Sometimes they are violent. Sometimes they are killers. Now remember the eagle. How eagle hunts other small animals mercilessly without any sympathy. That is nature's law, law of survival. Every animal must live. That is the slogan. Every animal must live. No animal must die without food, because food is everywhere. Now, poet understands that nature is not always innocent. This bird represents nature, and nature is not always innocent, merciful, and sympathetic. Nature has its own violence. Remember the eagle again. Nature has its own merciless character. Now, bird represents that also. Nature's law as well as nature's merciless aspect. Fellow raw. You see, no mercy. No mercy. Now this angleworm becomes food for the bird. In the same way, the bird may become food for another animal. Likewise, this goes as if in a chain, food chain. That is nature. Second stanza. And then he drank a dew. There is nice alliteration, drank a dew. The dew means some water, drop of water. Now the bird completes its dinner. He first ate the angleworm, Like the sausages you eat, and after eating the sausages, you drink some tea or coffee or milk. That is how you complete your dinner. Now, even this bird takes this angleworm as a sausage and eats it, and now drink some water, completing his dinner, drank a dew from a convenient grass, nearby grass. It's a morning dew. Early morning, there is droplets of water everywhere in nature, in leaves, and the bird drinks a drop of it. You see, nature's life with nature is very simple, not complicated like ours. There are no power cuts, no gas is needed, no fuel is needed, right? This is simple life found in nature. There is food, whatever you can eat, and you have to find them. After drinking water, he then hopped. Hop means jump. That is how some birds can walk. Some birds may hop, hopping, hop, panapan, sidewise to the wall. Now, the wall round the poet's garden. Now, poet's garden is well protected, but the bird doesn't care. He comes into it. Now he's perching or seated on the wall. Now on the wall he finds another prey, another piece of food, a beetle. Beetle is small insect, Purminia. But the bird does not kill the beetle this time. Why? Normally birds eat beetles too. But this time, this particular bird does not kill this beetle. Why? Can you give me the answer? Why doesn't this bird kill this beetle? Another aspect of nature. Yes. What is the reason? To let the beetle pass. He let the beetle go. He does not kill it, hunt it. The beetle goes freely. What is this idea? Nature is not greedy. Animals of nature are not greedy. That is law of satisfaction, law of lack of greediness. Once you are satisfied, you do not need food until you are hungry again. A tiger hunts animals. The eagle hunts animals only when he is hungry. When hunger is fulfilled or satisfied, that eagle or the tiger will never hunt. He will hunt again when he is hungry. There is no greediness. But think of human hunters. We human hunters, we hunt every day. We hunt every day because we are greedy. But nature is not that so. Nature is not like us. Right? Now, poet learns this lesson from this bird. Now, the poet's refrigerator is full of stored food. Some refrigerators, not ours. Some refrigerators are full of food. Because we humans are greedy. We humans are collectors of food. But in nature, Animals do not collect their food. They look for food only when they need it. Therefore, there is a balance in nature. When animals are not greedy, they will never hunt. It guarantees life of another animal. Now here beetle's life is guaranteed, protected, because this bird is not greedy. If the bird is greedy, it may kill this beetle too. But nature has not that law. Once satisfied, they will never hunt again. Now poet learns this lesson. Now beetle goes freely. He glances with rapid eyes. Now the bird has very quick moving eyes because he is very afraid, because he knows he will be food for another animal. Therefore, he is very careful about his nature. That hurried all abroad, those eyes went everywhere. Those eyes go everywhere, looking for danger. Looking for danger. Other animals may hunt him. He is very careful. These eyes look like frightened beads. Look at the simile. Beads, some balls or marbles, glass balls. Now those eyes look like frightened glass balls. They are full of fear. I thought. Now this poem is narrated from the first person point of view. I thought. He stirred his velvet head like one in danger. He stirred his velvet head. Now, his soft head, velvet head, as person in danger. You have to read both lines together. This line and this line. It's a poetic technique. Poetic technique. Write down enjambment. I will explain later. Now only write the name enjambment. E-N-J-A-M-B-M-E-N-T. Poetic enjambment. What is the poetic enjambment? Now part of this line is in this stanza. The same line is divided between two stanzas. That is poetic enjambment. The same idea, same line or same sentence is divided between two stanzas. He stirred his velvet head like one in danger. You have to read it together. Then only you get the idea. Now, the bird is moving his soft head as a frightened fellow, cautious, very careful, cautious, vigilant. He knows there are dangers in the innocent nature. Now, poet is attracted to bird's action, therefore she goes much closer to the bird with some human food. I offered him a crumb. Crumb means some piece of food or bread or something like that. Human food. I gave him some food, human food. This bird rejects it. He unrolled his feathers, opened his feathers, unrolled his feathers, wings. He opened his wings and rode him, went home, softer home. Softly went home. Now birds' movements are very soft. Sometimes there are not even sounds. You do not even feel if there is a bird. This bird rejects poet's food. What is the idea? This is man's miserable situation in nature. Other animals do not take man as a friendly animal. Other animals take man as a rival and enemy. We are distanced from nature. We have no place in nature because of our own selfish actions, proud actions. We hurt nature, we destroy nature, we kill animals, we cut trees. Therefore, nature believes us enemies as enemies. Therefore, this bird rejects man's food proudly and he flies away. Now, there is another poetic enjoyment here. And rowed him softer home than oars divide the ocean. Now, poet compares the bird's movement to the movement of a boat or sea vessel or ship. Oars. Oars are the instrument used to drive or row the boat. Oars divide the ocean. The bird's movements are much softer than the movement of a ship. Graceful. Now, ship's movement in the ocean is very graceful and softer. Now, poet says, this bird's movement are much softer than the movement of a ship or boat, because too silver, too soft. There are no seams. Seams means tracks. Now, when the boat goes or sails, when the ship sails, there are tracks on the surface of the sea. But when a bird moves in the air, there are no tracks, no traces, no signs of birds flying. But when a ship moves, there are signs of ship's movement. Even an aeroplane flies, there are signs or tracks of their movements. Now, birds' softer qualities are admired by the poet. Sometimes softer than butterflies. Sometimes these birds are softer than butterflies. We know this is an exaggeration. Poetic exaggeration or hyperbole. Atishyokti, but butterflies are the softest creatures, flying creatures. Butterflies. But here, poet, out of her admiration, she says, this bird is softer than butterflies, who that leaps, jumps, flashless without making any noise as they swim. Now, even butterflies are compared to swimming creatures without moving, making any sounds. Off bank of the moon, noon means in the evening or after the noon time. Now you see, water. Water is used as a symbol here. Water and waters, vessels, boats, ships, which are used by the poet to highlight the bird's softer movements. She means that no boats or no ships or no butterflies can fly or can swim in the water without making any noise, but the bird can. The bird can fly in the air without making any noise because he is so softer and delicate than these things. She admires. She is not angry about birds' rejection of her food. She is not angry. She is not angry, but she admires his soft aspects. Now, that is the simple idea of this poem. The poet's realization of nature through the action of a bird, nature's laws, how animal depends on each other for survival, for life, how they coexist together, සහජීවණයෙන් coexist together. They are the qualities of characteristics of a sound ecosystem. All animals depend on each other. Without their mutual cooperation, they cannot live. They must cooperate with each other in order to live in nature. Otherwise, they will never live. Right? That is the lesson that this poem offers us. Now you see, it includes a simple action of a bird, but the bird's action tells us some laws of nature, and humans' place in nature, and also humans' place in nature. We humans have lost our place in nature. Now, nature does not regard us as nature's creature. Now, we do not belong to nature because we have become enemies of nature, enemies. That is why the bird rejects the poet's food proudly. I don't want your food, you keep it to yourself. Right? That is the message of this poem. Okay. Now, we have discussed the meaning of this poem. Now you see, this poem is also written in traditional poetic format with 4 quatrains. Now you see 4-line poems, stanzas, 4-line stanzas. Now each stanza, they have a specific rhyming pattern. Enrhyming is perfectly used. Rhyming pattern, you can identify them. We'll discuss them in detail when we discuss the techniques of the poem, right? Therefore, it's a nice poem that enlightens, that educates us about nature and our own position in nature. We humans, our own position in nature. Okay, we'll write down this discussion in essay type in our next class.